Good morning. My name is Rich Foreman, and I'm going to talk about digital marketing basics for startups. When I talk to a startup founder, I tell them they have to have a proficiency in digital marketing. So, for the purpose of this webinar, I assume you have a startup, and let's say you developed a great solution. And there's a guy in Montana, and for those of you who don't know, Montana is a state smack middle in the United States that has a need for your solution. And he does a Google search and you don't show up. So to this person, you don't exist. And this is one of the reasons why I tell startup founders that they really need to have a proficiency in digital marketing. So what I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to talk about what is digital marketing. And then before I even start that, I'm going to talk about your name, your business name. We're going to go over your website, talk about search engine marketing, compare that to search engine optimization, discuss content marketing, go over social media marketing, influencer marketing, and I'll talk about building your personal brand. And finally, I'll end up with what I suggest as next steps for you as a startup founder. So let me introduce myself. Uh, my name is Rich Foreman, and I am the father of two teenagers. And my biggest job right now is picking up my kids and dropping them off. I'm pretty much the dad taxi. I started my entrepreneurial journey with an app development company called Apptology in 2010. Since then, I've had two exits. Um, I am located in Sacramento, which is about 2 hours east of Silicon Valley. And I'm very involved with our startup ecosystem here. So I started MedStart, Startup Folsom, Startup Grind. I run the Startup Grind chapter here. And I also I'm a board member of Startup SAC. And currently I'm working on two startups. One's a medical startup. And then I feel like almost every entrepreneur needs to have an AI startup. And yes, I do have an AI startup. And I started, with my digital marketing experience, I started at Apptology and I had some notion of digital marketing. And I was told that you really had to write blogs on a regular basis, which I did. I tried to write a blog like once a week. Sometimes it comes up maybe twice a month. But fortunately, back then, my efforts were actually good. I actually, if you Googled mobile app developer back then, we would show up on page one. And my blog actually was actually listed as one of the top 20 mobile app marketing blogs during I think it was 2014. Since then, I actually one of my clients actually uh, recruited me recruited me, and we are making wellness apps, and I was their CTO. And while when you're a startup founder, you wear many hats. So not only was I the CTO, I was the product developer, I was the social media manager, I was a content person, tech support. And so I did a lot of our social media marketing, our content marketing, and got a lot of experience then from that. And Cortico actually went from 0 to 4 million in ARR in 2 years, and it had a nice exit. So what is digital marketing? And so from the textbook will say digital marketing refers to the use of digital channels, platforms, and technologies to promote and advertise products, services, or brands to a targeted audience. And so the components are SEO, content marketing, social media marketing, influencer marketing, search engine marketing. And the thing it's included is email and SMS marketing, which I'm just going to tell you it's there. I'm just not going to discuss it today. So before I even go into digital marketing, I just want to talk about your business name. And I want to talk about how it can either help or hinder your business. And I'll start out with my app development company, and I had my team, and we are meeting over WebEx, and we are brainstorming names, and we started to make names up. And so what we did is we took app and excellence, and we made Appsellence. We thought this, visually, I think it looks very impressive. And then we actually filed our LLC against it. The thing is, a week later, I was telling my friend this, and he goes, "Abstinence? That sounds like abstinence." And I was like, "Oh my God, you're right." And so we actually had to come up with a different name. We just didn't want to be known as the abstinence company. And we came up with Aptology, which I really like. I actually get a lot of compliments for it. The downside of Aptology is I always have to spell it Apptology. And it becomes a challenge if people will hear it and they want to get to your website and they'll misspell it and it's hard. So my suggestion is to come up with a name that is easily spelled. The other thing too is you actually have to check and see if it's trademarked, if the name is trademarked. And recently I started a side project. I created the branding, the website, the logo, and then about a couple weeks later, I actually decided I wanted to trademark it. And I did I did a trademark search, and the name I had selected was already trademarked for the exact same thing I was looking at. So I had to redo the website, logo, and everything. So my suggestion is that one of the things you should do is trademark um, your name. I mean, check the trademark. But in addition, if you really like the name, you should actually start the trademark process earlier. Um, I was working with another startup, and the name they came up was called Lawyers on Demand. And the CEO was actually interviewed in this legal magazine about his startup. And then shortly after that article was published, someone quickly trademarked the name Lawyers on Demand, and they went back to him and said, "Hey," they tried to sell him the trademark. So what I really suggest is that if not only check the trademark, but if you like the name, start the trademark process. And I actually use LegalZoom several times to trademark, and it's actually a pretty good service. Um, Ideally, I mean, there's like literally hundreds of domains now that you could choose from, but the .com domain is the gold standard. And when we were brainstorming names, as when we came up with a name, one of the tests we would do is we would check to see if the .com domain was available, and um, if it wasn't, then we would actually, we would bag it and try something else. But that said, we actually have used other like .ai, etc. But again, the .com domain is the gold standard. One other thing about the name is that it should be SEO friendly. The name should somehow infer what you do, or the location of your business, and sometimes both. This is sort of this is kind of funny. There's a restaurant in New York that basically named themselves Thai food near me. So you can see that actually is actually a very good SEO name, but I think it's actually kind of problematic. I was working with a local business, and the name of their company was ANSYNC, and that's another issue because I have a hard time spelling it, and I work with them. And one of the things I did, and they rated poorly. Their name rated very. I mean, there's if you look for what they did, they ranked very poorly on a Google search. So I created a separate website, and I created a separate brand, and I called it Sacramento PCB Assembly. And so it was sacramentopcbassembly.com. And I think it's one of the reasons right now, if you actually go and look location wise, if you Google it, we show up on page one of a Google search. And I think it should be memorable. And some of the best names I think is actually SurveyMonkey and MailChimp. Visually, you get it. Everyone knows what SurveyMonkey is. Everyone knows what MailChimp is, and it actually leads to great branding. And it's easy to spell. I know how to spell survey. I know how to spell monkey, and it's easy. It's easy. So these are good examples of good names. So let's talk about your website. And your website is your digital identity. It represents your company. And when I meet with a startup or a company I'm interested in, first thing I do is I check out their website. I want to find out more about them. So as I said before, Appearance matters. I mean, actually, I said before, I'm a father, and I have a teenage son, and he's actually a handsome young boy. I mean, I'm his dad, but I have to get on him on dressing, changing different clothes daily, showering, combing his hair. These are the things I deal with, and I have to tell him, you're a great kid, but people will judge you on your appearance. And so the same thing is about your website. People will judge your company on your website. And my pet peeve is a bad looking website. And there's a local they're an AI health startup. The founder is a PhD from Berkeley, real smart stuff. They have several patents, and their website's a hot mess. And it's so bad when I look at it, I've even offered to the founder, and he's a friend of mine, that I will redo his website. It's just so bad. And the other thing that troubles me is he's raising money. And so when his investors, uh, you know, if there's an interested investor, the first thing they're going to do is go to his website, and it's a hot mess. And it's a reflection, may not be a reflection of what his actual technology, but it's a reflection of his marketing prowess, and it would probably turn off. I mean, my personal opinion, it'll turn off any potential investors. And the analogy I finally go, it's like doing a presentation and having your zipper down. You may have a great presentation, but people will remember that you had your zipper down. And you don't want to be remembered for that. So just in terms of a website, you just need to, it needs to be attractive. And that's actually fairly easy with good templates now. At a glance, you should need to be a person that should be able to understand what it is. If you no, my wife is not technical, but if I want to have a litmus test, I'll just have her look at it. And can she tell me just by glancing at it what the website's about? Then I've passed the test. It has to be focused to the proper audience. So if your audience is parents, that's going to be a different audience than having an audience of scientists. The branding needs to be consistent throughout the website, and there needs to be a good call to action. So that's like download a white paper, contact us, give me an email for 15% off your 15% off discount. And again, I had said earlier, uh, it, it's quite easy for a website to look good. Just use a good template if you're using a website builder. Finally, let's talk about search engine marketing. Essentially, search engine marketing is Google Ads. And I have to be frank, I'm not really a big fan of Google Ads. I've actually spent, personally, when I first time I launched my business, I spent a couple $1,000s on Google Ads and didn't get a single hit. And so it's worked by, keywords are bidded up. And so it's called CPC, cost per click. And a CPC can be quite expensive. So a CPC like personal injury lawyer, that can be as high as $300 per click. And just as a side note, if your competitor is using a Google AdWords and you want to stick it to them, start clicking on their ads. So if you're going to do that, ideally we recommend is look for long tail keywords. So if you look at the keyword of insurance, that's a $25 CPC. But if you do affordable car insurance quote in New York, that's a $5 CPC. So look for the long tail keyword. It's more cost effective. And you want to monitor and manage your keywords. So the local company I'm working with, they had a budget of $1,000 for their keyword ads. And I asked them, like, how effective has it been? And they duck and they go like, oh, I think we got one sale of $250 in an entire year. So they spent $12,000 in 1 year and only got $250 back. So what they should have been is monitoring and checking the keywords, and if either kill it or change the keywords or change the, look for long tail keywords, but monitor and manage, just don't let it, go and don't look at it. And the other thing too is I like to say that you know Google Ads is kind of like a sugar rush. So I was talking to a client, nothing about digital marketing, and he told me he spent $2 million on Google AdWords. And then while I'm talking to him, I actually do a Google search on what I would think is keywords, to find his company, and he didn't show up on page one. So he spent $2 million on Google AdWords, and organically he does not show up on a Google search. And so, like I said, it's a sugar rush. It's fleeting and it's expensive, and the better investment in time and money is search engine optimization. So that segues into SEO. So there's several components of SEO. There's technical, and this is what I'm going to cover in this section. There's technical, local, talk about backlinks, keywords, some of the tools you use, and then the value of content marketing. So technical SEO is something that you can almost just set up and then forget. So one is how fast the website refreshes or how fast it goes through. That all things being equal, the Google algorithm, if you have your website shows up fairly quickly, it will rank it higher to another website that doesn't. All websites should be mobile friendly. So the only time I see a website that is not mobile friendly anymore is an older website. If you're using a typical website builder, there's two modes. There's the desktop mode and there's the mobile mode. So it should be the one thing I suggest if you're building a website, if you're using a website builder, check the mobile view, because a lot of times when you're building something on the desktop view, the mobile view, the formatting will be different. So you need to check that. The website should be highly indexable. And there's a few things you could do that. I'm not going to discuss it, but that once that's done, you don't have to worry about it. And the website should be SSL secured or HTTPS. Google will basically ding you if you're not. And actually, my browser won't even go to a site that's not SSL encrypted. And again, that once you set it up, you don't have to worry about it. All right, so local SEO. So if there's anything in this presentation that you remember, this is it: Google Business Profile. I've had, actually, I'm working with a customer. They're actually a publicly traded customer. They launched a product, and people cannot find the website of their product. And, and if you try to go to their facility and you put it on Waze or Google Maps, it doesn't show up. So once I set them up on Google Business Profile, literally, I put them on the map. You could find them on Waze. You could find them on Google Maps. And then the other benefit is that they actually organic, at least locally, they showed up on page 1 of the Google search. In order to do this, however, there's some stipulation. You need to have a physical address. If you don't have a physical address, Google Business Profile won't work for you. You should fill out as much information on it. And I treat Google Business Profile as a social media platform. So every time I post content on my social media, I will also post content on Google Business Profiles. And then the more positive reviews that your Google Business Profile has, the better. So I know of a few, I can't even call them startups anymore. There's a couple of companies, their entire business model is getting you positive Google business reviews. And in fact, the Google Business Profile is actually much more important, I think personally, than a Yelp review for like a restaurant. All right, and let's talk about backlinks. So when Google started to go into search engine business, one of the factors was the other websites linking or backlinking to your site. The more backlinks you have your site, the better it was. And this led to whole industries created where they were essentially backlink farms. You sign up for them, and instantly you get like 500 backlinks to your website, and you'll actually rank very quickly on a Google search. Google changed this, and so now they will actually rate websites on it's called domain authority, how good of a domain authority your website has. And if it's a backlink from a poor website with a poor domain authority, you'll actually get dinged. So now the idea, if you want backlinks, you want to have backlinks from quality with websites that have higher domain authority. Good ones are government sites and education sites. So if you're working with local governments or local universities, see if you know somebody, see if they can do a backlink to your website. Local media is great. So local newspapers, television markets, if they could do an article on you or something, they backlink to your site, that's great. A quick way to get some quality backlinks, and I've used this a number of times, is Bright Local. You spend something like $400, and I'll get like 100 quality backlinks to my website. So in doing so, you need to understand what the keywords. So in understanding keywords, you need to understand your target marketing. Why are they trying to search for you? Are they a parent? Are they a scientist? And you need to conduct keyword research. There's some tools that you can use, and I'll talk about that in a second. And one way to to evaluate the keywords is using those tools. Look at the competitors, um, and then actually use that and see what keywords your competitors are using. And then you want to have your team brainstorm long tail keywords. Um, and then again, remember, monitor and refine. Monitor and refine. Some tools are Google Analytics. It's a free tool, but it's almost a must. I use a tool called SEMrush, or I think it's also called SEMrush, and it's expensive. It's like $130 a month, but it's a great tool. They have a free trial, so you can sign up for it, put in your credit card, and cancel. You just need to do that initial research. Um, and Google has a keyword planner, which is really meant for ads, and then they have a Google Search Console. Finally, the main way to get traffic or improve your SEO is content. Content is king, and that'll segue into my next section, which is content marketing. So I'm just going to read you the definition. Content marketing is the strategic creation and distribution of valuable, relevant, and consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience with the ultimate goal of driving profitable customer actions. So that's like the textbook definition. But really, what it fails to mention, it's all about SEO. Really, the main reason you're trying to create content is so that the algorithms will pick it up and it will drive traffic to your website. That's the purpose of it. It is a marathon. And one of my last startups that I sold was called Kidney Love, and I was writing content on it for a daily basis, and it was actually kind of discouraging because I was writing like 30. After a month I had wrote 30 blogs, and I would check the analytics, and the only one going to my website is me. But after 6 months, we started to appear on page one of a number of Google searches. So that's why it's something you can't buy, but it's something you have to start and work on it. And don't be discouraged, because at some point you will start being picked up by the analytics will be there, and you will start showing up on page one of Google searches. Remember I talked about how you use keywords and you need to research it. So when you're writing your content, try to use those keywords. And it's actually kind of easier now with AI, because you could actually say, write a blog about blah, 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 and add these following keywords. So you need to add the keywords that you think are important and add it into the content you're making, and try to do it in a natural way. So if you are developing a product, a software product, you can actually write your content while your product is being developed. So this is Marketing Hero .ai. It's one of those startups I'm working on. And my development team took, they took probably 3 or 4 months before the website was built. I mean, before the technology was built. And so this is their homepage. And the homepage, when it initially, it didn't have the hero video or the find out more. It just basically was a page of blogs. And then when our product launched, we pushed all the blogs down. We put the hero video at the top, the call to action in the middle. So while your team is developing your product, you can be working on the SEO and writing content on a regular basis. Remember, when I talked about my previous, after 30 days, nothing showed up. But after 6 months, we started to show up. It is something that you have to work on, and you actually can't buy it. You can buy the ads, but you cannot buy the SEO that way. You have to build it. And then if you're writing content, actually you could use AI to generate topics. I'm working on a project now, and I actually fed ChatGPT, here's our website. I ask them, what are good reputable topics, or what are good generate topics for it. And the AI actually gave me several topic ideas. Some of them I had to throw out, but some of them were actually pretty good. And then for whatever industry you have, you could use Google Alerts to find out. And so, like in the medical startup right now, I have a Google Alert for cancer and chemotherapy. And every day I look at the Google Alert, and if there's, a lot of times I just, delete the email because there's nothing new. But occasionally there's something that I find is pertinent, and there's something pertinent that I think that is the good content for our viewers. What I will do is I will have AI rewrite the content. Go to the site, rewrite the content, and I'll post it as a blog. But to be ethical, I will always refer. I will say, I will put a reference and link back to the original blog. Another way you could actually create content is by finding relevant YouTube videos. So for our site, what we do is we provide chemotherapy. We have a solution that alleviates chemotherapy side effects. So I found this TEDx talk about this person, and she's talking about how to support chemotherapy patient, or how to talk to chemotherapy survivors is what this video is. And so what I did was I took the transcript of the video, and I fed it into ChatGPT, and I said, write a blog about it. And then here, what I did was I embedded their video. So the video is at the top, and then at the bottom, there's the blog. There's the blog about the video. So another way you could actually create content. And then I actually develop a content calendar. So right now I have a Google Calendar, and my goal is to publish daily. And so on the Google Calendar, for the first 30 days, for the next like 7 days, I have content that's already. I already know what I'm going to write about the day of. And then on the same calendar, I also put social media posting on it as well. And speaking of social media posting, what you want to do is, once you write a blog, you want to post a link to social media. So, and there's, you can do this on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. I'm not a big fan of Twitter, and actually Pinterest. You could actually put links into Pinterest. So I try to amplify the content the content I have by posting links to social media, and so that'll hopefully help drive traffic to the content you created. And when you create content, try to use videos or pictures. I used to always just go to Google Images to find pictures to go along with my blog, and then I got dinged. I got this email, a cease and desist letter from Shutterstock, and they wanted to shake me down for some money. So with that said, you can find images if you use Canva, and Canva is very expensive. It comes with a bunch of stock photos that it's actually quite robust. And then I've also been using AI to generate content. And then I've also been using a mixture this is a side thing here, but I've also been using AI to create a video script, so I can create like a video video of the blog I wrote. So this way I could post it on TikTok and Instagram, as well as Pinterest. And so I've been talking about AI, using AI to create content, and you want to make sure that, yes, I'm saying that you're doing this to drive traffic for SEO, but you got to make sure that the quality is good, because again, people are if they go to your website and they see the content, that content represents your brand, and if you're putting crap down, then your brand's crap. If you're putting good quality, then your brand's quality. So make sure that even though you're using AI, that the quality is good. Again, you need to monitor and manage. When I was doing the kidney website, it was interesting, some of the stuff that actually would rank up was I was doing a lot of blogs about kidney disease and dialysis, and one of the places we ranked very high was renal friendly smoothies. So really, you got to see that's, that being the case, maybe you want to start adding more content about that. And then finally, let's talk about social media marketing. First, you got to know your audience. Who is your target audience? And based on that, that's where you pick your platform. So if you're more B2B, LinkedIn's the place to be. Facebook, but Facebook tends to be an older crowd like me. So that's 35 and older. Instagram is also B2C, younger crowd. It's 18 over. TikTok, much younger crowd, uh, 15 and over. Pinterest, I actually just started doing Pinterest, and I find it very interesting. It's really geared towards women, and it's a B2C platform. It's geared more towards women, but it actually helps with your SEO. So if you have a consumer product that is geared to women, that's a good place to be. Twitter and X, I used to be a big Twitter user. I actually now avoid it. Uh, it just become unless your product is maybe geared towards extreme right wings, I would say avoid it. Another thing too in doing social media marketing is finding user groups. So when I was working on my kidney startup, kidney service startup, I joined a number of user groups. Now, and some of them, like you could see the dialysis of kidney disease, there's like 14,000 members there. The thing about that is that if you get accepted in there, you got to know that one of the things they hate is being sold to. It's like, oh, it's like, you join a group and then you're trying to immediately try to sell them. Don't do that because you will actually get kicked out for doing that. What you do, and what I've done, is you need to build a relationship with the administrators. And I started out by just posting good information. So I would write a blog, maybe about kidney health, and I would post it in there, and it would be done on my website because it was good information for the entire community. They let it go, and then if people somewhere within the blog, if they click around, they could find more solutions about it. And over time, you could develop a relationship with the admins in which and you could talk, have talks with them, and then you could then have them promote your business or do something about that. So user groups are very powerful because it's a very focused group, but you need to treat it with care. You need to post daily, at least, sometimes more. And again, you need to promote your content through other means like social media. Social media ads are great. It is. I think about my own Facebook feed, and I'm a geek. I love Star Wars, Star Trek, and I get a lot of ads for Star Trek and Star Wars. It's a because that's what I like, and it's on my profile. It's also what I look at. So it's a especially like they like Facebook, that you can actually really target your audience. You can do A/B testing to see what messaging works better or worse, or what works and what doesn't. And whatever your ad is, you need to have a call to action. And when you design a landing page for your ad, needs to be responsive. So if they're looking at it from their mobile device, it has to be mobile friendly when whatever your landing page is. And I really should have turned off the animation on this. Let's talk about influencer marketing. So these are some of the biggest influencers around. There's Kylie Jenner, The Rock, Kim Kardashian, and some of their paid posts, they will get paid over $1 million a post. I mean, this is like Super Bowl ad money, right? And, if you're going to go down this route, it is quite expensive when you're using like a high visible person. Just the tools alone are expensive. So hashtags are important. You can use BuzzSumo. There's a product called Grin, which I try to use, which I actually looked into, and just to use it was $30,000 a year. This part of influencer marketing is very expensive, and for most startups, it's probably out of your range. What I will recommend is micro influencers. That's less than 1,000 followers. A lot of them will just do a post for you, just send them free product. If you have an affiliate program where you can reward them, they'll promote it. And let's say they do a video about your product, you could take their video and add it to your social, so you can repost their content. If this is the way you want to go, the place I've used is The Social Cat. And let's see, finally, so I had in the previous section, I talked about, influence marketing, but I want you to, you yourself can actually become your own influencer. And to do that, you need to build your own personal brand. When I was talking at my last my last startup, I always talked to the founder and I said, "You're our Ronald McDonald. You represent the company." So, and I did a lot to try to help promote. I would actually post. I had his LinkedIn account, and I would post for him. But to build your brand, the first thing you got to do is your network. There's an adage that your network is your net worth. The fact that I'm presenting to you is because I met Rob Lowe at one of his events like probably 10 years ago, and we've developed a relationship, and this is why I'm presenting to you now. So the more people you meet, the more options you have. Uh, I would suggest if you're going to do a network, you want to brand yourself visually. Now, this is David Webb, and he has an archery business education for schools. And when he would go to meetups here in Sacramento, he would wear this hat, this Robin Hood hat, and so people know him as the archery guy. And it's actually kind of funny when I see him, I just see, I think total dweeb and nerd. But one time I met him without the hat. He was actually a good-looking guy. Just his hat just made him look dorky, but he has successfully branded himself as the archery guy. And so when I was networking myself, and I'm just giving you a funny example, I would wear this baseball jersey, and you can see it on the right there. And I would have my company and apologies. Whenever I went to a networking uh, uh, event, I would, I wanted to market myself as the app guy. People would know to come to me, and I could help build an app. And this is just so my first appearance on the cover of Sacramento Business Journal is not because I did anything important. It's because I went to this networking event, and for whatever reason, they put my picture on the front page of the Sacramento Business Journal. So you never know what it is, but visually, if you're going to if you're going to network, you should brand yourself. Another thing too is you want to write for an industry blog. So the founder of my last startup, Cortico, he was a clinical psychologist. His name was Dr. David Black. And one of the ways he really formed himself as a thought leader was that he would write regular blogs for Police One, which is this industry website for law enforcement. And so people, when he met with law enforcement, because he was writing for him, he reaffirmed him as a subject matter expert. And so not only did he write blogs, but he would speak at their events. And so it was actually a really good combination. So we would have him speak at an event, and we would have a table at the event. So after he spoke, we would have a flood of people that would go to the table at our event. But again, this is another way to reaffirm yourself as a subject matter expert. I always, if there's an opportunity for me to speak, I will speak. And the fact that I'm here speaking to you is I'm trying to, I'm branding myself as a subject matter expert. And the other way, and so I was actually at this marketing conference, and the subject was how to brand yourself and how to distinguish yourself as a thought leader. And the speaker actually said, if you want to be seen as a thought leader, write a book. And my jaw dropped. I go, oh my God, that's quite doable. So at that point, I had written a number of blogs. And what I did was I took all my blogs that I wrote, stitched it together, it had an editor review it, and I self-published a book on Amazon. And so when I meet with customers, I would actually hand them a copy of my book. So people go, oh, you know something about mobile apps. And then we took the digital version, and that was our call to action. So if people went to our website and they wanted they could download a copy of our book. But that's plenty of information. The book actually is quite dated now, but it is something. And with AI, it's actually quite easier right now to write a book. Although if you do it that route, you need to make sure that you direct the book. Another way to sort of help brand yourself is to organize events. So I run the Startup Grind chapter here in Sacramento. And so I have been fortunate to be able to do fireside chats with pretty much all the notable people here in Sacramento. I've actually interviewed several billionaires, including the founder of Zoom. And so now, like, I'm on stage with these prominent people, and so it helps raise your prominence by organizing events and actually speaking, being in a position where you have to interview people, and then you're seeing as a community organizer. And finally, to help brand you, the other way to help brand yourself is to help others and not expect anything back. So this is Gary. And Gary and I went to the same accelerator like in 2014. Both our first startups really sucked. But he actually approached me. He was doing a fintech startup, and he had a couple investors that were interested, but they wanted him to have a technical co-founder. I happen to know a technical co-founder, someone that was technical who was winding down the startup and made the introduction. They got along great, and they've actually, this is a little old. They've actually raised $12 million so far. So help others and don't expect anything back, and that helps build your brand. So finally, what are next steps? So I've gone through almost like half an hour, looks like. What are next steps for you? The first thing is what I just did in half an hour. You're not going to learn digital marketing in half an hour. You just know what needs to be, what's there. And I would say, educate yourself. Um, when I got acquired, but when I last started got acquired by um, got acquired, I had a year where they basically paid me to do nothing. So during that year, I started educating myself on digital marketing. I took a lot of courses. I'm a big fan of Coursera because you'll get a course and it'll be like a certificate from a university. So educate and Coursera is actually quite inexpensive. But if you don't have time to educate yourself, recruit someone you know. It is that important. And actually, when we send out like you'll get a recording of this. I actually will put a consulting engagement in there as well that you have an opportunity to work with me. So with that, I'm going to go to our Q&A, and let's see if you have any questions. Where's my thing? If you have any questions, just put it in the Q&A. Um, let's see if hopefully there's anyone's there. And if you don't, then I will just there's like 26 people here. So if you have any questions, you just use the Q&A feature, and I will go ahead and answer your questions. And then if you don't, I'll go ahead and wrap it up. And this is where you have the awkward silence. And all right. All right, Zoe, thank you. Thank you for not being too awkward. But Joey just said I wanted to thank you for that. Any other questions? Or yeah, I see some people are dropping out right now. All right. Well, I don't want to make anybody answer any questions that they don't have. I'm going to go to the next slide, which is has my contact information. Let's see. So here's my contact information. The QR code just goes to LinkedIn. For the most part, I will anybody that connects with me on LinkedIn, I'll connect with them unless they look scammy. Is being used frequently. How do we optimize for ChatGPT as it's being used frequently nowadays? So for chatting, if you're having in the ChatGPT, there is one is you want to use your, like it's like use the latest version of ChatGPT, use the paid version. Don't use the free version. I mean, you can use it, but if you're going to use ChatGPT, spend the $20 a month to use it. And then let's say you have a writing style. What you could do is you could actually have ChatGPT analyze your writing style and then put it as instruction. So when it writes content, it will write it in your writing style. Which web hosting services do you like best? Quite frankly, I've been creating a lot of webs for startups, and what service I like is Squarespace. It's very easy to make a website. It's really great for content. So if you need to make a website where content is key and it has kind of the SEO and stuff built in, I actually like Squarespace. It's easy, and unlike I actually WordPress, I actually started to hate because there's so many versions of WordPress, and I feel as an intelligent person that's done coding, if I go into WordPress and I can't understand it, and I can't understand the theme they're using, it's really user hostile. Anyway, that's my comment on WordPress. I like Squarespace. Um, how do we optimize for the Google search AI overview? I'm not sure what that means, the AI search overview. I will say that like when I'm writing a content for Squarespace, after the blog is written, I will actually then ask it, the next prompt I have is write an SEO title and write an SEO description. And there's fields within Squarespace that I have to fill out. Zaid says, how can we reach out? How can we try to reach our potential customers? Which marketing strategies work better these days? I mean, email marketing, cold calling, or direct meetups. So, in this thing here, first of all, you need to have a digital marketing presence. You should actually flip the question is, how do your customers reach you? And the answer to that, there's two. I mean, there's Google Ads, which is fleeting and expensive, and there's search engine optimization. That's what you should do is how do your customers find you? And work on that because it's not an overnight thing. It takes months and months of daily work to get it there. That's if you get the thesis, that's how you should do it. To reach your potential customers, if you want to do targeted marketing, I think Facebook is real. Social media, especially LinkedIn and Facebook, is actually one of the key ways to specifically target your potential customers. I'm not a big fan of email or SMS marketing. I think networking is great, especially if you go to, if your target customers is dentists, go to dentist meetings. Uh, Cold calling, and I have a lot of friends that are inside sales. Cold calling is actually one of the tools that people use, but you have to have a very thick skin. My friend just got a job with Zoom, and he literally dials 100 people, over literally hundreds of people a day. But he does make money. But he has, thick skin, and he's persistent and polite. What do you do if you already have a WordPress account and a website domain, but move it to Squarespace? So interesting enough, one of my customers has and I can't say who, but for whatever reason, they're they lost their website. They didn't pay their bill or whatever, and they lost their website. And what I ended up doing was I ended up going to the Wayback Machine, and I used Squarespace, and I replicated all I basically replicated their content. I actually had to use AI to make some of the images bigger. And then the important thing is whatever the URL is, I use the identical URL. So if it was like companyname.com/about, I would do a company name /about. So I basically replicated all the pages, the URLs they have, and so that Google actually, it's easy. They find the same links. Other than ChatGPT, what AI service do you use? I use 11 Labs, so a lot of my content is social. A lot of my content is what I'm thinking about. A lot of my content has some audio to it, and I don't want to sit there and record stuff, so I use 11 Labs, and I have several voices where I'll actually have speak out the content. I've been experimenting with Flux in image creation. Um, and I use another tool called I forgot what the name. Um, Let me look it up. I use another tool to enhance images. So I'll take an image and enhance it and clean out the background. Let me see if I can find that tool. Uh, it's called Clip Drop. So I use Clip Drop to enhance my images. That was from Chuck. Sam, what do you say is the best platform for building a website that looks great? Uh, I only use a couple. I've used WordPress for a number of years, and then when I go to another person's WordPress site, I actually hate it. I find it too complex. And the other thing about WordPress is that it has to be constantly updated. Way back when my first website was created, it was done on WordPress, and it got hacked. It got horribly hacked, and we had to finally nuke it and build it from scratch. It was that badly hacked. We kept trying to repair it. I like some of the I like Squarespace. I've used Wix a couple times, but I know Squarespace really well now. So I'm a little biased, but I feel like I can literally make a great looking website in like 2 hours. Uh, yeah. So Anya, there will be this is being recorded right now, and then afterwards we'll send out an email with the recording. All right. I don't see any more questions. Again, my contact information. We'll be sending out the an email with all the with the recording and the slides, and I'll have basically I have to figure out what my engagement was, but I'll have a consulting engagement that you can work with me if you need some digital help. Looks like there's a question. All right. So anyway, thank you very much. Hope you have a a great day. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing at this point. Thank you very much. Have a great day and a great weekend. And after this is done, you'll be getting a recording fairly soon. And thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Bye.